Hey, Nate.
Hello, Lisa. How are you? Well, we lost it in 2 seconds.
Okay, we're failing again.
Yeah. It's good to see you again. I know it's been a while and you probably missed me a ton, but you brought up a really good topic based on some of the new stuff that is happening kind of in your life. So I think, one, it'd be great to get some context for you, like where you are at and this subject came up, because I think that's really relevant for a lot of people. But then, two, what is that topic? What are we going to discuss today?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a topic, and it's actually come up a couple times during my life journey. We'll just say that. Mm-hmm. But it most recently came up in a reflection where I was talking with someone that has spent decades in leadership positions and struggled with their team to help them understand the importance of, during transition of other leadership or in different professional groups or relationships, essentially how to read the room to be able to alter communication, your communication, listening, dissemination, body language, etc., so that they are most effective in whatever environment they are in. And so we were kind of reflecting, because I said, oh my gosh, I've been through this too, and I'm actively going through it now, where there's different people that I work with that I need to shift how I speak, how I communicate, how I write things down, how often I interact with them.
Yeah.
Because I've learned very quickly, they need the information this way to be able for them to hear me, because at a certain point, if you don't give people the information they need, or the body language, or the soft skills that they might need, they quit listening, and then you're completely not effective. So I don't know if you've done, obviously, a lot of leadership, team building, had responsibilities that way. Do you find that to be true, that that's a skill people struggle with?
I think it's a skill people struggle with. I think the bigger question usually in my mind is like, do the people actually care? I have people in my inner circle that will just they just embrace that this is me, this is what I'm going to do, and they don't really care how that information is retained or how it's really shared. It's just like, I have to get this out. So I think some of it is maturity. I think some of it is experience, but I also think that there is care. So I would just preface this conversation by saying, if you care, like if you're a person that says, I want to be a better leader, I want to make a greater impact, or my team doesn't have time to waste, so I'm going to pour in the energy and I'm going to look for some of these subtle details to read the room a little bit better, I think that's really effective. But there's definitely people either that have hit that point of like, I don't this is just me and this is just what I need to get done. Or you get you get really prominent leaders like CEOs. I mean, Steve Jobs is notorious for this. Obviously, Elon Musk is notorious for it, where it's just like, the stories of, I think we were sharing last time, like if Elon doesn't, if you're not offering him value, he's just going to walk away from a conversation. I wouldn't take that tactic, especially for a lot of people who aren't the richest man in the world. But at the same time, I think that there are definitely personalities that are involved. And so I would just share that up front, because I do think that that is a really important aspect. But it's also why I wanted you to share this, because you are in upper to middle management now in a very large corporation. You're in a lot of meetings. Yeah. There's a lot of talk around the water cooler. And so it's really important how you conduct yourself and then how you're looking at your team to make sure that the communication is as effective as possible.
Yeah, and I agree with all that. I mean, I think we can all say, there are going to be a select few people that are going to operate the way that they do, and they rise really quickly in business. Yeah. You should be able to identify them very quickly. Yeah. And so we're not talking about those people shifting their patterns of behavior. What I want to talk to is, one, people that want to change or want to understand how to be more effective in a communication. And it may be somebody that owns a business that doesn't have any direct reports, but they are out in the world trying to build relationships, generate sales, or it could be someone that is more of an entrepreneur in a team and they want to move up the ladder. And so they need to learn that skill. But then likewise, it's also for people leaders, people managers, entrepreneurs that are having people come into their businesses, because there is a lot of people that I don't think are even aware that this is a skill to build. And so how do you package that message that gets people awareness so that they do care.
Yeah. Okay. Well, number one, I guess, what do you look for? What are some of those skill sets that you're paying attention to, whether or not somebody is tuned in or tuned out?
Tune in and tune out. I think it's, if you're in a conversation with somebody, I'll ask questions, just very broadly. So, hey, we're sitting in this team meeting together. This happened to me a couple of weeks ago. Hey, we're sitting in this team meeting. I heard this from this person. It sounds like my takeaway is they need it packaged like this, or they like information like this. How did you hear it? And if someone goes, oh yeah, seems about right, that kind of tells me they didn't really listen to it. Because generally someone will have an opinion, or, hey, I have this experience with somebody, or I just met this person. You know them better than I do, or you've had multiple conversations with them. How do you think they best handle information or want escalations brought to them? So, for example, I'll do a lot of probing questions to see if I can flush out, are you really listening, air quoting, listening during conversations on how the people around you are taking in information, but then how aware are you of the nonverbals? So are you aware in meetings that someone has completely checked out after 5 minutes of you talking? If you continue for 25 more minutes, you are not aware that you've lost that conversation completely.
Yeah. So are you looking at eye contact? Are you looking at people on their phones? Are you looking at how they're positioned in their chairs? I mean, it's this day and age, a lot of stuff is done virtually.
Yeah,
right?
A lot of it's virtual. Yeah. I mean, yes, to those things. Are you looking, do you seem engaged? Am I getting, after you've finished talking, is the person that you were addressing, do they go, oh, wait, can you repeat that again?
Yeah.
Telltale sign, I heard nothing that you said.
Yeah.
And I also listen to people and how succinct they are. And this is actually a skill that I'm working on. So I would say it's a never-ending skill in conversations is how can I be more succinct, direct, and clear in what I'm saying so that it's a one and done. Can I say my point in 5 minutes or less in this conversation and have someone repeat back to me exactly what the intent of that conversation was?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the person sharing the information, there's a lot to be aware for that. So as an example, if you are speaking on a topic and you start to lose people, what goes through your brain? Because when I asked that question, one of the things that was like that I have experience with that I really think works is, every couple of minutes, just pause. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions about this? But then go a little bit deeper to your point. Like, are you actually listening? But don't go for 20 minutes and then be like, what do you think? I'm all done. I think that the bite-sized chunks are really good. I think back some of the bigger speakers that we've been in front of, and a lot of the things that they do is they'll engage the audience. Hey, ask a question. Hands up to everybody who has been through this before, right? So you snap people out of the I'm just consuming, I'm just listening into we're fully engaged, we're fully aware, we're paying attention now. And you can do that very easily in work meetings as well, and it actually leads to a lot more engagement, participation, but also perceived value for the person that's actually listening, because you're not just there to like, this person's just talking to me. It's hey, my opinion, I'm going to interact, I'm going to listen, I'm going to participate, I'm going to share. That really gets people engaged and keeps them there because they don't actually know when the next call on or the next question is really coming.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that people can do I would say, like if you have direct reports or you have relationships with people that maybe aren't direct reports, but you have a good relationship with them, is to record yourself or record them and then go back and say, how could I have shortened it? Is it clear what my status or my intent or my ask or my opinion was? I mean, we live so much in a world where we want to have one foot in either side. We don't want to be right or wrong. We want to stay somewhere in the middle because it's comfortable for everybody. So I actually challenge a lot of people to say, is it clear that I know exactly where you stand on this topic?
Yeah.
And it could be something super simple like, I think we should use this tool, or, I want you to buy from me because X, Y, and Z. But what a lot of people find is they're actually not clear. And so people walk away from the conversation and they might feel great about it. Hey, Lisa's a really nice person, and I got all warm and fuzzy feelings, and yay, I can't wait to talk to her next time, but I have no idea what I was supposed to take away or the action step that I was supposed to take.
Yeah, I think that's usually what most people take away. It's like there's a couple of really good nuggets, and then it's like, I like Lisa, she did a great job, or I couldn't stand listening to her, and so I just tuned everything out, right? One thing that I've picked up on, and I do this every so often, I actually want to do it more than I currently do in my communication structure, but what I've really found is, again, going back to like stopping, sharing bite-sized nuggets and then asking people for participation or feedback or whatever it is. But the other trick that I know works really, really well is giving people a heads up that you're coming to them. Because a lot of times what will happen is people will be there, it's a big room, and obviously for very large meetings it doesn't work as well. But in smaller work meetings, in partner meetings and things like that, what I like to do is I like to get ready to share a point, but I know Lisa needs to listen to this, or, partner X needs to listen to this. And they'll say, okay, I'm going to share this. And then Lisa, I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you your thoughts on this because this is really important. I want your feedback. So here's my point. And then I give you 2, 3, 4 minutes as I'm speaking to think about and also be ready. Hey, I better pay attention to this because Nate's coming my way. And I found that to be very, very effective. It's just when you're setting yourself up, it's hard sometimes to weave that structure in when you're beginning, but it does work really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to pivot back to the other group of people that you mentioned, which is the I don't care, I am who I am people, because we will all come across them, in every aspect of our lives. There are those people. And my perspective is going into someone with that mentality, you can try and say, I want to be able to effectively communicate with you. How do you want information? What specific things can I do to ensure that our conversations are productive, efficient, and we're both walking away feeling like we've gotten something out of it? And likewise, here's what I need from you. And after 2, maybe 3 times, if the person comes back and says, nope, this is the way I am, I would say don't invest any more energy than you need to in trying to create behavioral awareness. So take that as kind of a circumstance that you no longer control anything but how you can communicate to that person, and understand that that's probably the way that it's going to be, and move on and stop wasting extra energy trying to get someone to change that is unwilling to change. I would also say 9 times out of 10, those individuals, especially in a professional setting or a business setting, will hit a ceiling where they can no longer grow. Exceptions are like Steve Jobs and, Elon, of course. But I would actually wager to bet at some point they learned some people skills and how to navigate conversations, maybe in a little bit rougher way. But most effective people have to learn how to navigate nuances of relationships and conversations effectively to be able to grow to the highest levels.
Yeah. So I want to pull on that thread because I think it's really important. So yes, I do think some people are just in a space where they don't care because they don't want to learn. They feel tapped out, but it usually means because they're not happy and they're not feeling valued. And let's be honest, we all have bad days. You could just roll into work, into a meeting, and just be off, right? It happens to everybody. And so, I always try to take things as, hey, they're just probably having a bad day. But I found when you start to ask people questions, hey, Lisa, what do you think about this? You provide a response, even if it's not great. There's something that you're engaged that shows you're not just going to slough it off and just not answer in front of a bunch of other people. So you're going to get a response back. And so you can try to extract some information and then just pay it forward with a compliment and then move on to the person. But it starts to chip away at that hard shell exterior so that you can start to get more value out of them. You can start to get and see potential interest if it's really there. Because usually it's just somebody's in a bad season. And it doesn't mean that it means they don't want to be there usually. But after they realize they don't want to be there, you can still pull out information, engage them, have them participate, and just give them a compliment to maybe turn their day a little bit around as well. So I wanted to share that. But the other thing that I wanted to say is for people on the other side, right? So we've been talking a lot about people communicating, you're talking to your
Yeah.
team as the leader. But for people that are part of a team and listening to a leader, it's just as valuable. So if you're a person that wants to grow, wants to get around that ceiling, wants to better your communication skills or your team building skills or your leadership skills, whatever they are, participate. Like, I think that is the biggest thing that I would take away is there's nothing worse, as you and I know, than sitting in front of a team and being, and feeling like we did a great job. And then you're like, okay, what do people think? And everybody's like, okay, sounds good. And you're like,
Yeah.
great. A lot of passion, a lot right there.
All right, yeah.
But that happens all the time. And could that be us with our communication? Maybe. But I think that happens more often than not because people just, it's a Monday 8 a.m. meeting and people don't want to be there, right? They're still recovering from the weekend. So I would just say, if you're a listener and you're listening to your leader, ask questions. Like, there's nothing better than getting not only yourself to engage and learn along the way through questioning and answer and dialogue, but also you'll start to open up and be a leader for the other people that are sitting there as well. And that is a massive reflection to what your leader, your team coach, or whoever is going to see. And they're going to say, okay, well, Lisa's really trying. She's, I see her participating. I'm going to lean into her a little bit more. Hopefully she can get some of these responses back from the rest of the team. And so it has this really big ripple effect. But again, it starts with the individual waiting to be able to figure out when can I respond, how can I engage, how can I be a little bit better to help out in this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, when you are on a team trying to figure it out, asking questions in a way or challenging each other. Maybe you have a team member that you're, close with or comfortable with, and just bouncing it off like, hey, I'm trying to build the skill of essentially emotional intelligence and reading the room. We both sat in this meeting. Can we just do like a 5-minute debrief of like what I think that team needs and how they need to hear it and what you think, and then have that open dialogue? Because I think too often we're also afraid to say, man, it doesn't seem like we're super effective, or I'm super effective in my communication. I think this is what, I mean to say, or how I'm wanting to say it. Did that come through? And so finding those people that also want to grow within your team or your business, that you can have those open dialogues and figure out what's going to work best, and then try something. Don't just sit on the sidelines and be like, well, I think they need this, but I don't know, no one's called on me. Put something in action. Try for the next 3 weeks to package your emails a different way, to come to a meeting with 3 pre-planned bullets or something, and see what the difference is in people. Are people more talkative? Do you get decisions made faster? Does it feel warmer in conversations because people are actively engaged? And start to do some trial and error. And if it doesn't work the first couple times, don't beat yourself up. Keep trying to figure out what's the best way to move your needle, because when you do that, you're still building that skill of emotional intelligence by learning to read the small nuances in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great. Well, let's wrap it out there. You started to touch on some things that I know we're going to get to in a future recording, right, because there's so many things that go into just the little details of interaction, engagement, and communication. And so, I like this one. I want to keep it in a nice little package here, which is just all about reading the room and being able to perceive and adjust along the way. And that's really, really important, both for the speaker and for the listener, because they both have a part. But
Correct.
You'll never be an effective communicator if you can't read the room and you can't figure out when you lose people. And so there's no better time, like you said, than these small little interactions. Try things out. It's not, nobody has it figured out right when they come, when they come into adulthood or into a professional career. You have to grow it along the way, and you do that by just trying things and seeing what works.
Absolutely. All right. Awesome topic, Nate.
All right. Always a pleasure. All right. We'll do it again soon.
Week.
See ya.
All right.
Oh.
Oh, you're not supposed to go away. Okay, you're back. And you're on mute.